Welcome to the Real Estate Espresso Podcast, your morning shot of what's new in the world of real estate investing. I'm your host, Victor Menashe. This is the weekend edition where we interview notable people from the world of real estate investing. Today's no exception. We've got a great guest, but first, a quick thank you to our sponsor. The Real Estate Espresso Podcast is brought to you by International Coffee Farms. International Coffee Farms owns and operates 10 specialty coffee farms in Boquete, Panama. These farms are divided into half-acre parcels, and they can be purchased for as little as $18,000. As a landowner, you profit from the cash flow generated by these properties in perpetuity. The idea of a safe, diversified offshore investment is intriguing to you. Check out International Coffee Farms at internationalcoffeefarms.com. That's internationalcoffeefarms.com. We are back here on the weekend edition. We interview notable people from the world of real estate investing, all the way from Phoenix, Arizona. My good friend, co-host of the Real Estate Guys radio show. Welcome to the show, Russell Gray.
Hey, Victor. Thanks for having me.
Russ, we get to hang out several times a year together, and you manage to pull together this entire ecosystem of incredible people. Some of them are really big names, some celebrities. Then there's your average multi-million-dollar real estate investor, and you pulled all of these folks together through all of these events. But what I really want to talk about today is the Investor Summit at Sea, which is really the marquee event that you do every year. Why should somebody come to the Summit at Sea?
Well, I mean, I think first, without making it sound like a total infomercial, you talk about creating an environment. And if you really want to change your life, if you really want to expand your horizons, you need to be around thought leaders. You need to be around people that are actively doing the thing that you want to do at a higher level. So they're peer mentors, people that can inspire you by their example. And then you want to take the time to go deep. You want to be able to not just give a subject or a relationship a cursory focus, but you want to be able to give it a deeper focus. So we started doing this Investor Summit at Sea back in 2002. We did the very first one. And the idea was, hey, let's get out of the daily grind. Let's take people out of their regular world. Let's attract people from various backgrounds, various levels of experience. Let's put them together with thought leaders. Let's have seminars at sea to stimulate thought process. Let's break into small groups during roundtables where people who are interested in a specific niche or a specific area of topic can meet with a subject matter expert or even a peer that has more experience than them and have real life conversations. Let's put together panels of people, especially in today's digital age, that you might be able to listen to each individual person's perspective on their podcast or on their radio show or on their YouTube channel or read their book, but to listen to these people talk to each other, especially after they've developed a good deal of mutual respect and friendship on a personal level. It's one thing to have professional respect. It's another thing to have personal respect. And we've had a chance to introduce people like Robert Kiyosaki to Peter Schiff, to G. Edward Griffin, who wrote the book The Creature from Jekyll Island. These people knew each other. In some cases, they'd even talked to each other. They had professional respect, but they hadn't become friends. And if you've ever been in a conversation with people who are friendly with each other, the level of conversation, the intimacy of the conversation, the vulnerability in the conversation, where all the lessons are just much greater. And so the Summit at Sea is an opportunity for anybody who is able to make it. And it's a big commitment. It costs a little bit of money and it takes a chunk of time to spend time with these people in this environment. And it's like going to summer camp when you're a kid. You know, you come in as strangers and you leave as best friends forever. It is, for many people, transformative and life-changing.
You know, I'm such a fan of the Summit at Sea. This will be my third Summit at Sea. And one of the things that I love about it is exactly like you said, the environment. There's just so many amazing people pulled together, and the intimacy of the conversation about things that really matter is like nothing else I've ever seen.
And again, not to make this an infomercial about the Summit at Sea, it's really the lesson that we're trying to express is how important it is to put yourself in the right environment with the right people, stimulate the right kind of conversation, and then give those conversations time to really develop and cultivate the level of intimacy and understanding you need to have. And so the reason we do it on a cruise ship is because you're kind of captive. You know, again, it's that summer camp experience. You're dining together. You're having breakfast together. You're seeing each other in the bars at night. You are hanging out at the beach together. And people aren't running around in suits and ties, so it's not that formal kind of distanced relationship. It's intimate. Human beings connecting with other human beings. So if you think about the amount of time and effort you would have to spend to go meet a couple of hundred people, to get to know people like Chris Martenson and Adam Taggart from Peak Prosperity, Peter Schiff, who accurately foretold of the financial crisis in 2008, got it right in writing for the right reason, Robert Kiyosaki, greatest selling financial influential author in history. G. Edward Griffin, again, wrote The Creature from Jekyll Island, the iconic expose on the Federal Reserve System, which is the dominant force in global economics. I mean, if you're an investor out there and you do not understand the Fed, then you are playing a game without ever having read the rule book, and you don't really understand what's going on. But think how much time it would take to get to know all of those people, plus all of these hundreds of investors, and develop any level of communication or conversation. So people look at the cost of the summit, the investment they need to make of both time and money, and they say, wow, that seems like a lot. But if you were to take the value and break it into its components and how much time and money it would take for you to get to the same place, you will get more done in 10 days on the Summit at Sea in terms of your financial education and developing quality relationships with both thought leaders and the millionaires next door that are doing it every day, real world masters, I call them. You'll get more done in 10 days than most people get done in 10 years, and you do it for a whole lot less money.
You know, that's so true. And one of the things that I noticed when I went on the Summit at Sea the very first time was exactly like you said. It really compressed time frames. I got more accomplished in those few days than I would have done in 6 months. And it's funny. It seems like a big commitment of time, and it seems like a lot of time. And at the end of it, it was like, wow, I didn't get around to spend enough quality time. I didn't get to see everybody that I wanted to see. And I felt like I still wanted it to be even deeper, even longer.
Well, and that's why people come back year after year after year. You know, this is Robert Kiyosaki's, I think, 6th or 7th time with us. Peter's been with us 7 times. G. Edward Griffin, probably at least 4 or 5 times. Tom Hopkins, a great sales trainer, been with us 5 or 6 times. We don't pay any of these people. So they're not coming because we're paying them. They're not hired guns. They come because they enjoy the experience. And one of the things that we've discovered on this event is we're able to give these people who really don't need money, and they really don't need us to make these introductions, but we create an environment for them where they're able to get involved in lots of great conversations. Kim Kiyosaki said this to us, I think a few years back, and she said, you know, I travel all over the world. I speak to literally hundreds of thousands of people, and your people, the people that you attract, just intrigue me. I get into these quality conversations with people that are really, they ask great questions, they have great feedback, they learn, and this is Robert and Kim talking, they learn as much from the people who are on there as they're teaching. And I think that's what it feeds them, it feeds their intellect, it feeds their desire to be stimulated. And I think that's one of the reasons why people come back year in and year out, because no matter how much you get done in 10 days, you realize, wow, there is so much more to do. And so I'm going to come back next year and the year after. And the even better part is people take the ideas and the relationships and the opportunities they get introduced to, and they go back in the real world and they turn them into profitable investing. And so the summit doesn't really cost money except the first time. It actually makes you money. Now, no guarantee that's going to happen. That's up to you. But the results are, and the feedback that we get say that it's a great investment for people. So again, whether you do it with us or you do it somewhere else, find a way to get in the right rooms with the right people and get into deep quality conversations on a personal level, and your life will absolutely take a turn for the better.
Everything you said mirrored my own experience. You know, I got to meet Robert Kiyosaki probably 8-9 years ago. And, you know, I interviewed him a year and a half ago. And the first time I interviewed him, it was really an interview. He was commenting, he was taking stuff out of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He was quoting his own book. It wasn't really a conversation. It was an interview. 6 months ago at the New Orleans Investment Conference, I interviewed him again for the podcast, and it was actually a conversation. In fact, at one point, he was interviewing me. It was very fascinating. It switched. It stopped being an interview, maybe a minute or so into the interview, and it actually became a conversation. And that's pretty neat when those kind of things happen.
Well, that's the nuance. I mean, that's the thing. See, I've told you, he's a student. And he, after talking with you, he realized that you have some depth. You have some knowledge. There's a reason we enjoy having you on the summit. Every time you teach, I learn. When I get in a conversation with you, I learn. You've experienced things. You've done things I haven't done. And so, yes, I have all kinds of things I can talk about. I'm considered an expert in certain areas, but there's a whole bunch of things I don't know anything about or don't know very much about. And when I get involved in a conversation with someone that's got some depth, the minute you recognize that, these thought leaders turn into human beings and students, and they want to learn too. And I don't know anywhere else on earth you can go and get into that level, that quality of a relationship with people like this so quickly. It's a unique thing. It's really, in my mind, and not just because we promote it, I would say the same thing if somebody else was promoting it. It's really, in many ways, become the premier investment conference in the space. There's just nothing else out there like it.
Well, and that's why I actually wanted to talk with you about this today, because I know it's coming up in just about a month's time. I know there's still a few cabins left, and I really wanted our listeners to know about it and really not to miss out on the opportunity, because I'm not getting paid to say this or anything like that. Like you said, it's not an infomercial, but I really personally got a tremendous amount of value from it, and I want my listeners to get value from it if it's right for them. If it's not for them, that's fine too. But I really would urge you, if you're sitting at home looking to Google for answers on what to do next in your strategy, get out from behind your desk, get out into the offline world, get with the thought leaders that are doing this day in, day out, and I'll echo what you said, it'll change your life.
No, absolutely. I mean, the internet is wonderful for opening doors, but that's what they are. They're doors. And you have to walk through those doors and get into real world relationships. You know, the money is made with real properties in the real world, with real relationships with people that you do business with. And so the internet is great for discovering those. I mean, people are listening to our voice right now, right? That's the beauty of the internet, but it's not a end all be all, and it is certainly not the end of the journey. It's really the beginning of the journey. So anybody's interested in learning more, it's pretty simple. You can send an email to summitatsea@realestateguysradio.com. summitatsea@realestateguysradio.com. The email will give you the details, but you need to act quickly because the ship fills up really fast. We have a little bit of inventory that we reserve. We're aggressively selling it. It's funny because cruise ships, normally people plan these types of things months in advance, and so they always wonder, how is it that we get so many people sign up at the last minute? But people don't look at it as a cruise, because it's not a cruise. It's a conference that happens to take place on a cruise ship. And when you hear about a great event, sometimes in the 11th hour, you say, hey, that's a great event. I need to go on that event. But when you look at the value, you know, you're going to get the hotel night, you're going to get the cruise, it covers all your meals. I mean, once you're in, it's kind of all inclusive, and it's a ton of fun. So all the details are at summitatsea@realestateguysradio.com. Hope you decide to come.
Well, Russ, great to catch up with you. I'm looking forward to this year's summit. It's going to be epic. We're going to Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao, and I think Grand Cayman as well. It's going to be a great event on the celebrity silhouette. Send an email to summitatsea@realestateguysradio.com. And in the meantime, have an awesome rest of your weekend. Go make some great things happen. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.